Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca with your live Pinpoint Doppler 12 Futurecast.
Well, one of the things I love about forecasting New England weather is the incredible challenge, and this is certainly a challenging forecast. Case in point, hold on. Now till about 2 o'clock in the morning, we'll get a half a dozen brand new computer model projections. One of the first ones just starting to trickle in has nearly cut the forecasted snow totals in half, reducing it significantly. Not buying into it yet, just for the simple fact that we really need to look at more data before making any kind of a wholesale change. It is somewhat interesting, but at this point we're still keeping the same numbers. Bottom line, we have a high impact storm coming up for tomorrow, especially during the middle and latter part of the morning commute into early tomorrow afternoon. And one thing that has not changed, the winds will be strong. A high wind warning remains in effect for southern areas, especially near the coastline. Winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. I mean, the entire area tomorrow will have very strong wind, even inland between 35 and 45. But obviously with an ocean storm, the closer you are to the coastline, some pretty impressive winds. These are not sustained winds. These are wind gusts. And the reason why, with heavy precipitation and wind gusts of this magnitude, the potential is there for at least some power outages. Weather impacts, no doubt, wet, heavy snow, though some locations south and east of Providence we'll switch over to some sleet and rain. We talked about how that may reduce snowfall totals considerably, points south and east of Providence. High winds, they're there. High impact on travel, and of course the power outage risk, at least in the medium category. In Narragansett, skies are clear. You can still see the lights from the Pell Bridge off in the distance. However, once the wind really starts to pick up tomorrow, the ocean should look something like this. Big waves, heavy surf. Now, there's a potential for minor coastal flooding along the Rhode Island coastline. Major coastal flooding is not anticipated, but certainly angry seas, rough surf, and beach erosion as your winds at times are gusting 45, even 60 miles per hour. All right, plenty cold enough for snow. So why the concern about sleet and rain? As the storm intensifies, it does two things. On the front side, it draws in warm air, and on the back side, it draws in colder air. So if you're on the front side of the storm, initially you start off as very, very heavy snow, then you eventually transition over to some sleet and rain as milder air comes in off the ocean. So the rain-snow line is certainly challenging. No problems for this evening. Of course, we got the threat tracker red, and with good reason, with snow and wind, some sleet and rain to the south. And before the switch to sleet and rain, it is going to come down very hard with thunder snow. 2-3 inch per hour snowfall rates from roughly 10 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon would not surprise me. So it'll come down at a pretty good clip. And that's really where the bulk of the accumulations are going to occur. Sometimes it'll take an entire day to get 3 inches of snow. In some places, it'll take just 1 hour for that to happen. So the storm taking shape off the Carolina coastline right in here, the moisture coming together, all traveling north and east. So here's the area of low pressure. Watch the forecast track. It does take the storm close enough to the coastline to draw in some milder air by later in the morning and during the afternoon, and the reason for some transition over to sleet and rain south and east of Providence, especially across the coastline. Snowfall accumulations. Here's the deal, still going with north and west of Providence, 12 to 18, south and east of the city, 8 to 12. And again, I don't really see 18 in the Providence metro. This is going to be reserved for areas well north and west, up in the northwest corner of the state or central Massachusetts. And again, if that sleet and rain is more significant, this whole 8 to 12 band has to be moved further to the north. In other words, the snowfall accumulation would come down. But even 8 to 12 is obviously high impact, especially when it's coupled with very strong wind. So for tomorrow morning, well, for this evening, obviously we are cold and dry. Tomorrow morning, the snow starts between roughly 3 and 5 o'clock in the morning. And it doesn't take long beyond, say, 8 or 9 o'clock for it to really start to pick up. Very heavy at times through the early afternoon hours. And you can see during the mid to late morning hours along the coastline, a switch to some sleet and rain, and then further inland later in the afternoon, looking at temperatures topping out in the mid-30s. Best chance for that mixture to sleet and rain would be the closer to the coastline you are, but then again, the coastline has the strongest wind, so it's really a no-wind situation whether you get the strongest wind or you get the most snow. 7-day futurecast, we are drier tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. Wednesday, not bad. Thursday and Friday are cold and dry. Over the weekend, temperatures close to 40. We'll bring in some scattered rain showers on Saturday. High temps upper 30s to lower 40s. You know, some storms are easier than others. This one is a challenge, so stay tuned. You can download the Channel 12 weather app on your smartphone and on your tablets. I mean, if the rain and sleet comes in a little quicker, this is still a high impact storm. I don't want to give the impression that, you know, hey, go out, travel, everything's fine. It'll still be a big impact regardless of precipitation type, a real mess.
So stay off the road.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you, Tony. And please stay with Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of this March